Ever felt like you're going through a trial and you just don't know why? We like to say, Satan's attacking me. But I think there's another side, a flip side to trials and tests that's a lot more positive. Watch this, Matthew 4. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, afterward he was hungry. Understatement of the year. Now when the tempter came to him, he said, "If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread." But he answered, and he said to him, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." There's a lot in this, so let's unpack it. Barclay's commentary is really interesting here. Here's what it says. With the emergence of John the Baptist, Jesus knew that his hour had struck and that the time had come to enter upon his work. There's one thing which we must carefully note right at the beginning of our study of the temptations of Jesus, and that is the meaning of the word tempt. The Greek word is pereizon. In English, the word tempt has a uniformly and consistently bad meaning. It always means to entice a man to do wrong, to seek to seduce him into sin, to try to persuade him to take the wrong way. But pereizon in Greek has quite a different element to its meaning. It means to test. Just as a metal has to be tested far beyond any stress and strain that it will ever be called upon to bear before it can be put to any useful purpose, so a man has to be tested before God can use him for his purposes. It's the test which comes to a man whom God wishes to use. So then, we must think of this whole incident not so much as tempting, but as the testing of Jesus. The Spirit immediately drove him into the wilderness. This is right after Jesus had been baptized and the Spirit of God had descended upon him like a dove, and God the Father's voice came out of heaven and said, "This is my beloved Son with whom I am well pleased." It is one of the truths of life that after every great moment, there comes a moment of reaction. That's what happened to Elijah. With magnificent courage, Elijah, in all his loneliness, faced and defeated the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel in 1 Kings 18. That was Elijah's greatest moment of courage and of witness. But the slaughter of the prophets of Baal provoked the wicked Jezebel to wrath, and she threatened Elijah's life. Then he was afraid, and he arose and went for his life and came to Beersheba. The man who had stood fearlessly against all comers is now fleeing for his life with terror at his heels. The moment of reaction had come. Now this is really interesting. Let's hear what Barclay says about this. It seems to be the law of life that just after our resistance power has been highest, it nosedives until it's at its lowest. The tempter carefully, subtly, and skillfully chose his time to attack Jesus. We will do well to be specially on guard after every time life has brought us to the heights, for it is just then that we are in the gravest danger of the depths. Now, in the personal development world, there's this concept of the upper limit problem. Gay Hendricks outlines in his book, The Big Leap, that we all have this set thermostat of how much joy we allow into our life. Now, if we cross that line, our upper limit kicks in and pulls us back to our comfort zone. Now, the first attack is to turn stones into bread. The desert was littered with these little round pieces of limestone rock, which were exactly like little loaves of bread. And the interesting thing is, he actually had already done this to some degree in the Old Testament when he rained down manna from heaven and fed the children of Israel their daily bread. But this time he knew his calling was different, not to turn stones into bread, but to turn stony hearts into flesh, hearts filled with his word, satisfied with the bread from above. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, and the lips of the wise feed many. So as we feed on his word every day, we bring his life into us. And because we have this bread inside of us, we're able to help feed other people. There's a parable that Jesus tells about if a child asks his father for bread, will he give him a stone? When you ask for bread, your father isn't going to give you a stone. He gives abundantly, more than we ask. So keep asking.